This is the right moves, where we spot the macro waves and ride them to the bank. I'm your host, Tom Hartman, alongside my trusty sidekick brother, Peter. And today's got some serious upside. Trump's pushing a U.S. crypto reserve that's shaking markets. Cardano's up over 50% in 24 hours. And we're digging into late stage capitalism with Luke Groman's Gold Insights alongside Tucker, Elon, and Rogan. The world's moving fast. Let's make sure your wallet keeps up. So here we go. Peter, oh my God, what a day. What a day.
I don't know about MAGA, but I do know about make crypto great again.
Let's make Cardano great again. All
Make
right. That's
Cardano
all I
great
really care about. This has been an amazing a few hours. People laugh at me sometimes when I say all I want to do is sit at my computer, look at charts. And when moves like this happen, which is basically, but that's like the whole idea behind all my strategies, all the things I'm doing. The reason I trade 50x leverage is for moves like this. I'm not making. I mean, not making life changing anything on a 1% move or whatever 0.5% move in Bitcoin and just staring at it. But those moves allow you to prepare and learn the setup. So when it's going to explode up, it can be fantastic. So later on Sunday Fuel, we'll go over the charts for Bitcoin, the technical analysis for how what happened during the week leading up to that, and what I think will happen in the future. But for right now, I just wanted to touch on some of the ramifications that we have for this Trump pump. Right?
Okay, well, first of all, say what he said. Like, what's the beginning of the story? What's the thing we just saw?
Yeah. So the big thing here is, let me just pull up the tweet. Sorry, a truth, and I'll tell you, I sent it to Truth Social. Tootswit. Right? So I'm sitting around watching the markets, and then you get this God candle that shows up. I'm like, what the heck is going on over here? So I immediately go to Grok,
of course,
to figure out what's going on, and it had no news. But I knew something. There had to be something because you don't get a vertical move like that out of nowhere.
So what did you see first? You saw something on Twitter, or you saw the
No, I was looking at the charts.
the chart?
I was looking at the charts, and then all of a sudden, this wick shows up. Well, what happened is that we get this bounce in this image over here. You'll see
right on your support,
right over here.
Did you predict this bounce?
Well, it was almost always gonna bounce there because that's one of the levels. This level and this level over here, and this level over here. So it was gonna bounce, and so it bounced. And then I was looking at how it was gonna bounce to see if it was gonna pass through or move up, and then it moved like in a straight line up. A straight line up. So then this only happens if there's news. Like there's no other way around it. When you get a big move like that, suddenly just a straight line up on the 5 minute or whatever it is, there's actually news. And so I just kept refreshing Twitter until we got to this. So this shows up, and it's a what does he call them? Truths?
I don't know.
From Donald Trump, and it says a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, SOL, and ADA. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. So my initial reaction to that was
this
his account got
sir,
hacked.
yes, sir.
My initial reaction is the account got hacked. For two reasons. One, right. It's exactly what I would want him to say.
Right. You got hacked by our Cardanian.
That's right. So when the 9.5 girl asks you out, it's probably a prank. You're probably getting she's all thatted.
Or a prostitute or something. Yeah.
Right.
She's all that? What reference is that?
Freddie Prinze Jr., she's all that?
Who among us has heard about this movie?
Anybody who grew up in the 90s? Come on.
All right.
So then I'm just waiting for confirmation. And it's nothing showing up. It's just these bot accounts and these crypto degens like me who are just posting and reposting this idea of
The
this is
whole
what
time
Trump
I'm
has
on the
said.
phone with you, and you're like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is real.
I
We
don't know if
gotta
it's
find
real.
out if this is real. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about?
Well, the move in the chart indicated to me that this probably is true, because you don't necessarily get a move like that if you might get maybe a 1% move or something like that, 2%, 5% really on some news, but it fades really quickly.
Mhm.
When there's millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line across, tons of people, generally speaking, this sort of thing doesn't move exactly like that. Plus, we did have a bounce off. This bounce off, which now seems very suspicious to me. This bounce off the lows that we saw over here from this was yesterday or a couple of days ago. This move start up here. I was like, why is it doing that? Like, I get it needs to get to this level, but it's pretty significant. So I thought maybe something was suspicious over there. Maybe someone knew something. Who knows? But in any case, I didn't want to start. I started messaging everybody, right? Messaging, tweeting everyone. I just wanted to make sure that, hey, if anyone wants to pay attention, like, now's the time to look at it. But I wanted to wait for the confirmation. So the confirmation came from you go to Truth Social and you're seeing. I've never been on Truth Social before, and I go to Donald Trump's feed just to be like, is this sort of like on brand with everything I was talking about? Absolutely, just this schizophrenic Twitter thread, a social thread that just talks about anything all the time. The tweet before this, an hour beforehand, was something, and afterwards was something crazy. And I was just like, not crazy, I just mean like it doesn't read like a regular Twitter account. So I was like, okay, this could be true, and it had all the hallmarks of the capitalization and the throwing Biden in there and all that. But still, I was like, this is perfect. So the other thing I was worried about is that it didn't mention Bitcoin or Ethereum,
Right.
just XRP, Solana, and ADA. So I go, what? Then I jump over to Charles Hoskinson's Twitter, and his video. He has a video up that happened like 13 minutes before this truth got shared, where he was saying he's sick and he's just going to take the night off. He'll come back tomorrow, or whatever it is. I was like, that's weird. I don't have a Zoom meeting with him. Why is he messaging out to everybody, hey, I'm under the weather, I'm going to be back tomorrow? And then before that, he had that whole tweet about people were reading into the meeting that he had with, who knows, some top level person, whatever. So people were reading into the ADA was going to be involved in something big. So I was like, hey, maybe he's just trying to be on the ground, not say anything, let the price move. He doesn't know what's going to happen, and then we'll see. So then the confirmation tweet comes out for Trump, and he says, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum is part of this too, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum is part of this too. I didn't mean to say I love Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. So then I was like, okay, this is Trump. This is exactly what I would expect.
Is this tweet? Is he saying that U.S. will have ADA and Solana and XRP as part of their reserve assets, just like Bitcoin, Ethereum as well? Like
That's what
the
it looks
government
like.
is going to buy these coins?
That's right.
No.
That's a crypto strategic reserve. We don't know what the requirements and the details are, but it sounds like he's saying that alongside dollar currencies and gold, crypto will be purchased as a strategic reserve asset.
But specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano.
Exactly.
This is I believed firmly that they were going to do a reserve Bitcoin, right? Reserve asset Bitcoin. Never did I even think they would be purchasing ADA. Never.
Never even occurred to me. I thought it was just going to be regulation around
Right.
altcoins, and we get some clarity on that.
Right.
Especially after the Libra incident with President Malay, where that one belly up so unbelievably fantastically. Right on the heels of Trump and Melania, I was like, this seems just too good to be true. Well, turns out it's true. And so so I just wanted to make this clear. This is the point I wanted to make for this video, because you want to make money on this stuff. And we do have.
Okay, I want to hear about the make money, but I as your editor, I want to make sure we're talking in segments here. So right now you're starting the Trump pump. That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
Have you said everything you wanted to say about that?
Well, this is the last thing I want to say about that. So people who are thinking this pump, now we're in a bullish regime and it's going to launch. We're going moon, 250,000. Let's get the tattoos. Let's get the t-shirts. I'd hold off on that, right? You still want the levels to be confirmed that that's what's going to be happening.
You sound like
So
Mike right now.
exactly. Well,
Traders Post.
let me show you one thing over here. So previously, this is what I was looking at before. So you have one moment. This was tweeted out February 27th. So this is showing Bitcoin, so leverage Bitcoin on different crypto exchanges and the liquidation map. Right. So this is showing over here. This red is where the current price of Bitcoin is at the time it was on 80,000, and then to the left is all the long liquidations and the short liquidations. All that means is that there are people who are taking leverage bets. They're not just buying Bitcoin. They're buying a leverage Bitcoin so that let's say they wanted to buy, if you wanted to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, if you wanted to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, you could just buy it straight out. But let's say you only wanted to risk $100 worth, right? So you buy $100 worth, but you want to be able to control $1,000 worth. Well, then you're buying 10x Bitcoin,
Right.
which
That's
means
your gem, right?
exactly, which means that
50x.
if Bitcoin moves up, you're making profit on it as if you had $1,000 worth of Bitcoin without risking $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But then it also means the price of Bitcoin can only fall. You could only have a negative position of $100 because that's what you put in before your position gets liquidated. So you
Right.
the price could only fall 1/10 of the way that it would normally before you lose everything. Right? So
It's a tightrope.
exactly. And so here, people take all kinds of different leverage bets, all the way from 2x leverage all the way up to like 125x leverage, and these bars, the height of these bars, are measuring the notional value of how much those positions are worth, not the amount that people have put up. I don't believe, not necessarily, but the what the positions are worth. And so what happens here is that as this price moves, let's say it starts to move in this direction, which means up in price, these positions start getting liquidated if they're not managed, right? I mean, at some point, the people who are holding these positions have to cover them. If you open up a short, you have to cover it. If you open up a long, you have to sell it. But especially the short positions. So the idea that this is sort of like rocket fuel, right? As the price moves up over here and this get liquidated, you get these bursts of the price moves up and up as these guys have to liquidate. Now, usually, if it's just a small amount, it's no big deal. But these larger amounts end up being like these just explosions up. So this is the chart as it was a couple of days ago, and this is the chart right now. So as you can see, they got liquidated. They ran through this stuff. All right. So
But wait, they got liquidated when it was going down?
no, when the price went up.
Okay, so the price goes up, they get liquidated. Why?
Well, because like I was giving the example, if they're put down $100 worth to control $1,000 worth, they can only lose $100 worth of that position.
But why are they losing if it's going up? Are you saying they're shorting?
They're shorting.
Oh, sorry, that's the part I missed. So these are all shorts you're talking about. So shorts get liquidated, and that's when the price goes up. Got it.
Exactly. So when you see the price like boom, boom, boom jump up, it's because a bunch of these positions, and they get automatically liquidated. It's not some guy who has to make a decision. Boom, boom, the position gets liquidated and has to sell off. And so you get these rise in movements, and you can imagine that happens at one level, the price jumps up, it starts liquidating another chain, and that goes up, and it's just this domino reaction.
So there's a total wipeout now of these shorts. Then.
If I'm not mistaken, if I go to what was this? 1 second. The total amount that was wiped out, if we go to liquidations, over the last 24 hours, $285 million worth have been liquidated on Bitcoin, versus like what you might normally see, something like actually I don't know the normal price, but something around like Ethereum only had. Well, let's go with something else. Well, anyways, I'm not going to be able to give you the historical thing there, but essentially, if you look at the short liquidations, which is 285 million, versus the long liquidations, which is 60 million, you can see that it's a pretty significant difference. This is a rocket fuel up. All right, so why does that matter? It matters because we still have a chunk of shorts that are here. So if the price keeps moving up where we are right now, so take a look at the price. If the price keeps moving up, right now we're at a resistance level. If the price keeps moving up, those guys will be liquidated, and that would bring the price all the way to around, let's say around here, 96,000, let's say. Right?
We're close to that now.
Yeah, so 96.4 is exactly the level, exactly the level for where I expect the price to head to if it's going to go there at all. And I don't believe it could go much higher than that because we don't have any more fuel at the top there, and our global liquidity levels are falling. But we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Is
on
that your
72.
signal giving you 96.4?
Correct.
Okay. And so you're warning that there's going to be a drop, a pullback?
Very well. If I were to bet on anything, and that's what I would bet on, I'd bet on, if you're long right now, get long up until either here where we are right now, or if you want to risk a little bit more to like 96.4, 96.5, and then close your long. If you're levered. Now I might be like, well, what if it blows up to the top? I go, I understand that, but the move that we've seen comes from liquidations of these positions, and then some people jumping in, FOMO or whatever. That's not enough to sustain a rally up to 250,000 in Bitcoin.
Right.
That's not happening.
And you would
I'll
have
stake your
expected to
life on
see.
that, by the way.
What's that?
I'll stake your life on that.
Okay.
I swear on Peter's life that there's not enough volume.
So on the phone, when we were watching this, you were saying you would have expected this news to make it go up even further faster, that there's some type of friction.
No. So I was saying that before the confirmation came of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And when that came, boom, Ethereum took off and Bitcoin took off even more. Because people are wondering, I was even seeing online, people going, what, Bitcoin and Ethereum are not part of this?
Right.
And you had to quickly tweet out that was the case. And when that happened, boom, now we moved. And it moved all the way up to the level, to confirm a lower high. Just this downtrend.
Okay, so, and why does that matter to you?
Because if you're levered, you're going to want to cover your position, right? So, for example, let's go back to. So, I still think. Remember, we talked about where the price needs to go. It needs to be pulled one way or another. So, 96.5 was one of these levels that we were always going to get back to at some point. But also, 74,000 is still a level that's calling.
Shut the front door.
Right. So then you go. So we got down to 88, the level we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. And then the price was trying to go down lower, but it didn't have enough juice to go down. Right? Well, now it does, more frere. This now is the liquidation levels for the longs. So now, if we get this reversal back down and it happens fairly quickly, these guys will get liquidated all the way back down this way, and then we have a rocket fuel to the downside. You have the people who regretted getting in; they sell off. You have the levered positions that sell, and it's just millions of dollars worth that rocket down to the downside. I think then that to me, by the way, would be like the most beautiful outcome, the most ironic outcome, because
everybody's saying the opposite.
Right, and because my signal will have called it, like it would have been
your magical signal.
And if we get to 74, I'm not worried about going max long there. I'm not concerned about going all in at 74. I know, who was it? Tom, I forget his name. Tom West. I can't remember his name, but he was saying that his firm was saying 64 or 62,000 on Bitcoin. They had eyes on. I don't really care how low it goes,
right?
Because if it goes down, the upside is infinite and the downside is limited, and so I'm fine with it. When price moves up, that's where I want to pull my hair out. because then I go, well, I missed it.
Right.
But here I don't miss it. Anyway, so I
Okay,
was to
so
mention that.
I'm expecting that. I haven't done this yet, but I'm expecting when I go on crypto Twitter, Crypto X, Cryptex, and I go onto YouTube, I'm going to see a bunch of influencers going to the moon. You're
To the
here
moon. That's
telling
right.
me
Yeah, they're gonna say
96.4.
right. They're gonna say you can't. You're gonna miss out. This is it. It's what we've been waiting for, and let's launch it. Um, I don't see that happening in any way because the liquidity. It's not $100 million that's going to move Bitcoin to 250,000. Like that's not going to be the case, right? Here we had liquidations of 285 million, and then moved us what? What was
Right.
that? A couple of percentage. Actually, I didn't even check. What was the Bitcoin move?
I'm seeing 10%
We
today.
moved up. Yeah, we were 12%, right? 12% on $280 million. That's not going to get you to. You need a couple billions to get up to 250 or whatever to what they're talking about.
Why aren't
Plus,
those billions flowing in from the institutions now that they have green light from Trump?
well, just because there's a green light from Trump doesn't mean there's no uncertainty.
Right.
And in any case, the liquidity in the system doesn't come from. It comes from the economic system, the Eurodollar system that generates liquidity. And so we don't have that liquidity now. Like we've talked about the liquidity index, we don't have that liquidity. That liquidity looks like it's coming in April.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. Oh, there's my tip. Actually, my tip here is that whenever you see these big positionings, right? Whenever you see what people are saying, you want to go check to see the liquidity maps, and you want to go see the option space. You want to see, are people actually positioned in this way? If a lot of people, the majority of people are positioned on the side that you're positioned, you're on the wrong side. Because the money comes from the other ones. If they're all on
Right.
your side, it's too
Then
late.
you're about to give up your money to the ones on
Yeah,
the other
people
side.
think it's a tug of war.
Mm.
If it's more on one side, then it's just going to be pushed up. No, what happens is that it's the movement of the people that does it, right? The price of an asset is the marginal exchange between the bidder and the asker. And so if everyone bought, there's no one left to buy, then there's nothing left to push the price up. And then eventually some of the people start to sell because they don't want to wait around anymore. They want to lock in profits. That brings the price down. That makes the people who were nervous,
Have-
they didn't sell at the highs, sell now, and then you get this down move, and then those people move to the other side of the boat. So when it comes to trading, when it comes to anything like that, you want to be on the side of the boat almost nobody is on, if there's some sort of sense that actually some sort of edge that makes you think that might happen. And so because there's this whole expectation of liquidity, everyone in FinTwit now is talking about global liquidity index. You're probably hearing it all the time. Liquidity. When I was talking about global dollar liquidity with you last year or whatever,
right.
like people were like, "What? What are you talking about?" But now that everyone's talking about that, you got to go, okay, so then a lot of people are positioned on that side. Isn't most of them? And if it is, then the rise of Bitcoin in the first week of April, like we're seeing, can actually happen because those people are already in it. It would have to happen either later or earlier,
Mm-hmm.
like in a couple of weeks. And so in a couple of weeks, people are like, I'm going to wait till then. And then they start positioning in. And then the price rockets because everyone's like out waiting. Then people are, oh, and they'll rush into the positions trying to go up. And then you can get the price up to 150,000, 200,000, and so on. And then you get the FOMO and the whole thing. So the lower the price goes, the faster it does it. That causes people to think it's going lower, so position. And then you have this discrepancy with the news. Is exactly the kindling you need to rocket the price up. So pretty fun, pretty interesting, and very happy about that. So the worst case scenario for me is that the price just keeps rising now.
It doesn't sound like it will. It sounds like it's going to hit local top, and then it's going to jut down perhaps to 74, which and then back up. But volatility is how you make your money.
That's the way you make money, and that's what you need in order to launch it up. All right, that leads us to our second story, which is Cardano, the zombie chain, the ghost chain. No one uses Cardano. What? You're a bunch of nerds sitting around crunching numbers and building things for years? Move fast and break things. That's how you make money.
What is dead may never die.
I always love that. They go, okay, so this is a zombie ghost chain. That's the one in the top 10 of cryptocurrencies of the world for the last 7 years.
Well, didn't it
And
drop out of the top 10?
No. And your concern, I think like Pepe got up once or whatever. I don't even count any of those. And your concern is that they spend too much time thinking about technology, too much time with formal verification, too much time thinking about liquid staking, too much time thinking about privacy, too much time building their platform. What you need to do is instead have a move fast VC back break things token where the people on the All In podcast are waiting to dump on you, and that will be the foundation for our new financial system. I don't get it, Peter. I've never gotten it.
I don't understand it either. Too much attention has been paid to these planes. We need to just get these planes out, get them up into the air.
Just get them up.
Just get them
up. Crazy.
So what? They land upside down. You know, you gotta break things. You gotta crack a few. You gotta kill a few chickens to make an omelet.
We got hacked. Billions of dollars. Some of the biggest hackers of all time. We got hacked.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
Solana's down. Sorry. It's temporarily down.
No, well, you know that Solana is good because there's a lot of meme coin activity. And we all know that there's long-term value in meme tokens. We saw that from Ethereum. Peter, you know, like the whole meme coin Ethereum and NFT system in Ethereum has preserved its value even up till now. People are making money hand over fist. Whatever meme coin they are. Safe Moon? Peter, Safe Moon Revival. It's coming back, buddy. All right, so if we take a look at Cardano, just pull up the chart. I always look at Cardano versus Solana because it makes me laugh to see the performance of Cardano increase and then Solana, like versus Solana, Cardano's improving. Because remember, Peter, through this whole write up, people were telling us you're stupid for holding Cardano because Solana's so outperforming it. And it did it for, this was all of 2024. I heard that.
Well, you would have made money holding Solana and selling,
if you
trading
sold,
Solana. Yeah.
If you sold it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I did.
Buy and sell.
I did. But I'm talking about my long bags.
I got you.
What I want to hold. Where I don't want to sit around wondering if I'm going to Luna all of a sudden. Like, that's what I didn't want to have. Yeah, I traded Solana. Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Well, Solana's up 21% today.
21%. And Cardano's up 56%. It hit a high of like 60 something. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit here first. All right. So this is Cardano. Oh, beautiful. Let me just hide this a second.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody's clear. Tom Hartman, you don't hate Solana, right?
Define hate.
Do
I wish it didn't exist?
Wrong answer.
Do I think anyone who buys into it long term is a horrible human being or stupid and shouldn't be around anymore? Do I think that scam and are rampant on the platform and that VC funding is one of the main signs of something you should be avoiding? I'll let history decide that.
You'll let history decide that.
But yes, absolutely.
Everybody, just so you know, Tom told me to buy Solana. All right, so I have Solana, I have ADA. You know, I own it. But he did tell me all of that when he told me to buy Solana. He's like, "Look, go where the money is."
All right, this is our beloved Cardano here. Actually, let me take away these.
I never wake up afraid Cardano is gonna tank.
That's right. That's right.
It's not even a thought.
So this is a classic. So this is what I want to see in a chart. This uptrend, right? This uptrend up. Oh, actually, let me change it to white. You like it when it's white. This uptrend up, and then you have this channel up. So this to me is like healthy movements. You want these corrections, these healthy movements, and then after the third one, you usually get an explosion, which seems to be happening right now. So we have this. Let me hide the levels. Yeah. So we have this trend. So to me, when I see a chart like this, I'm very excited by it. And what was great was that this low here, we just never like broke below it. All this time where people are like afraid of what was going to happen. We had this floor in Cardano, and I loved it when it was all about how all the bad news about Cardano, all these stories about Charles Hoskinson, and all the fighting within the space. And I could easily just find videos of people just absolutely dunking on Cardano because the price wasn't moving. And all along, they're just like, we have $1 billion worth of assets in our treasury, available for funding on our platform. You don't have to go through VC. They just launched the final version, the final component of governance on Cardano platform. So now it's
Right.
outside of Hosky's hands. You don't have to worry about Charles Hoskinson, who built one of the biggest cryptocurrency chains and was part of Ethereum to begin with. But fine, whatever. You don't like that. I don't know what you're looking for. Maybe you like John Caroni and
Who?
Papa Thomas and Satan. Maybe that's what you're looking for.
It's
Um, so so they have governance. So that means now that changes can be done. This voting system can be done in order to grow grow Cardano, but it's based on this constitution, and you have this limited supply. You have a treasury system. You have this rolling update, so updates can happen to the platform without having to hard fork the whole thing. You have liquid staking, so you have access to earn an interest on your tokens while still being able to take it out anytime you want, as opposed to it being locked and bonded. You have people who need to have a certain level of skill beyond just prompting on AI in order to generate a new token. And then you have all the native tokens on the platform that are first that are what do they call them? They have all the same properties as ADA, so you don't have like this the first class citizens on the platform. And now they're working on Charles is working on Midnight, a privacy token. This whole thing that everyone wants, this privacy on cryptocurrency. He goes, yeah, you can have that while being in the Cardano network. Oh, I'm sorry. They also have Babel fees, the ability, I think, through Fluid tokens, in order to transact with the Cardano network using any token that you want and never have to see ADA, even though ADA is being used on the back end. Oh, right, and also the ability to have Bitcoin being the DeFi layer for Bitcoin, so you can have your Bitcoin and enjoy your Bitcoin, and Bitcoin shows up inside of your wallets, and you're able to participate inside of the Cardano network without any problem whatsoever. I don't know. It's no dog coin. Granted, it has that against it, but it's got nerd power. It's got nerd cred.
I have a question.
So I just wanted to mention to
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, okay. Quick question. Unless you don't want me to interrupt you, in which go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to mention these two things, and I just wanted to mention here that this move that we saw in November, this move up, you remember that happened after the election of Donald Trump?
Yes.
Because there was this weight on some of these cryptocurrencies where it wasn't sure how they're going to be treated by CFTC, by the SEC, what was going to happen there, and so that released the pressure, and so we saw this XRP, Algorand, HBAR, a bunch of these things that take off because you have this uncertainty that was lifted a little bit.
And then we looked to the east on the third day, and then we saw Gandalf with Rohan
exactly
cresting the hill.
And then now we're getting another leg higher. That is because now with Cardano being mentioned by Donald Trump, by the great Donald Trump, by King Trump, now there's no more wondering if ADA is actually a big wig. It means that Charles Hoskinson and other people within the Cardano system were actually active participants in the administration, helping to provide feedback on what the economic landscape should look like with crypto regulations. Now there's no like just talking anymore. Donald Trump tweeted your thing, right? If Donald Trump tweeted MeUndies would be a S&P 500 company right now. Okay, tweeted it, and so now you have to imagine. Well, what's the upside on that, right? It's got to be, let's say, in the crypto bull market or whatever. Well, it's got to at least be all-time highs. It's got to at least be all-time highs, right? That happened to XRP. It happened to Solana and all that. It's got to be all-time highs, which means we have another, I don't know, 2x you can do on Cardano if you bought it now before you even get, like, just to get to all-time highs.
When do you think that's going to happen?
It could happen, I think, late March, early April.
Well, what does your signal say?
Late March, early April. That's where the run happens, because you need the liquidity to happen, and I don't think that there's a certain measure of the price. So if Solana went up 20%, let's say Cardano should have gone up 20% too, to match like what was going on, but it went up an extra 30%. I think that's a little bit of the Trump push, right? Just to give validity to the system. So I think that's a little bit of that, and we'll see what happens as we get higher. But we're hitting a resistance level on Cardano. I'd say, long term, I say buy now. I don't know why you wouldn't buy it now. Just buy it now, but not because you think that, not because of the performance, right? You want to buy Cardano because it's proved itself, Peter. It showed that it's here for the long haul. It showed that it's willing to make the hard decisions for you, for me, for the
Cardano
in Uganda who needs a micro loan transaction. I see a world where voting systems are built on the Cardano layer, and new presidents and prime ministers are elected to power with Cardano as part of their foundation. I see a constitution, a tear rolling down a child's eye as it becomes the first. I'm sorry.
Look, I support Cardano because it was the victim of lawfare. It got shot in the ear, and against all odds, it's back on top. Okay. Look, my heart goes out to Cardano. My heart goes out to Cardano. I gotta put the palm up. I don't want to make Elon's mistake. You gotta put your palm up, not the hand.
Well, you can imagine that. You understand why Bitcoin and Ethereum would be named, right?
Of course. Well, I don't know about Ethereum. Seems like a dead zombie garbage chain.
Yeah, but it has the second. It's the Netscape navigator of crypto. People know the name.
Netscape.
And you could understand. And you could understand Solana, because if the big money plays are there, the Chamath Palihapitiyas of the world are in the mix. If the David Sachs are in the mix,
don't you dare badmouth Chamath Palihapitiya. Okay, I love that guy.
No, it's Palihapitiya.
Palihapitiya. I love him. I love both of the pronunciations of his names too.
Yeah, I like criminals too. So the
disavow.
They're not criminals. They're grifters, right?
No, it's not a grifter. Look, you have a certain level of understanding in the world that you're in, and then new information causes you to change. That's what happened to Chamath. He proves that he admits he's wrong, and he changes.
Well, we agree that Chamath and the All-In Bros are District 1, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so whatever that is.
You like District 1?
I want to be a grifter. Have I not made that clear? I'm perfectly fine with that.
You're not grifting.
I'm sorry. Am I trying to say that I think poorly of grifters? No, only that I'm not yet part of their group. If they bring me on as the 5th member of the All-In podcast,
it's going to ruin the visual.
Forget Cardano.
Solana all the way.
Solana all the way. No, so so you can understand why Solana was in the mix, because the money behind it. So XRP and ADA are like the interesting ones that were there.
Yeah, XRP even more like we've been hearing grumblings about XRP. It's been revived.
Well, the XRP thing seems to have been like that USDC wanted to take control of the stablecoin market, and so they wanted to overthrow USDT, and so Ripple was all involved in that. Plus, or if you're on the other side, like if you're not on the side of them being the underdog, if you're on the other side of that, they are a I don't know, we could call it a Ponzi scheme, but some sort of scheme that they can print infinite amounts of the token, and they don't actually have enough collateral to back all the things, the coins that are being issued, whatever. Well, then that's also pro empire. Why wouldn't they want? Why wouldn't they want that? Why wouldn't the guy who puts out a Trump token want XRP? I totally understand that. If that's the version you have, I'm not saying XRP is bad or anything like that. I'm just saying either the good guy or the bad guy, you can understand that. ADA, the only reason for ADA to be there is if they muscled their way into there. They got into that state. Right? They got to talk to senators, and they had to like grease the wheels. They had to RFK this whole thing. They had to weasel their way in. Right? So to me, ADA being in there, to me, is to the level of Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK becoming getting their positions. You're like, what? So frankly, I should have expected that Cardano would have been.
I mean, there rumors were the machinations looked like things were happening. The wheels were in motion. Things were happening.
Yeah, but I've heard that since 2012.
Yeah,
fine.
But things have been happening since 2012.
Agreed. This is the most significant thing I've ever heard happen to Cardano ever. So, can you think of anything that was bigger?
No.
Can't think of anything that was bigger than this. On the heels of the launch of it, we get that. This opens up the door now for Hosky to be on Rogues, bud. You might get on Rogan. Now's the time.
And then Joe Rogan. I want Charles to run for president, by the way. Just putting it out there. I don't know why he hasn't done. Why not?
Why?
Well, first of all, there's no succession. There's no successor to Donald Trump.
We do have a successor to Donald Trump.
No apparent one. Who? Vance?
Donald Trump Jr.
Vance, who likes to use his.
Barron Trump. Barron Trump.
He's not ready yet. Okay, you got to be older for that. Vance, this hand motion, Vance, like figure out a different hand motion, because this thing that you do all the time, Barack Obama, he put things in a big box into a little box, but Vance is like, I don't get it. Trump's got great. He's got great hand. Okay, I'm very.
I just don't want a clean cut person. Charles is too Ron Polish.
Okay, I'm just throwing out there. What I want to know is, what is the... Okay. I heard that if USA puts Bitcoin as a crypto reserve asset, even if it's 2%, that forces all other nations to also put 2%, which throws in, there's the bag. This is what I heard from Max Kaiser.
I don't care about any of that stuff.
No, but okay. Game theory, exactly. If ADA is part of that, do you think other countries will buy ADA as well?
Well, yes, but that's not what matters to me. I don't care about crypto, especially ADA, because of price appreciation, other people are going to buy into it.
I don't care about price appreciation too, but we care about adoption and network effect.
Well, yes, but only so far as it actually produces something that I want it to produce.
Why wouldn't it?
I don't know. Scientology has a great adoption, but I'm not looking for the output.
Produce Tom Cruise, the most amazing action movie star in history.
You're right. And John Travolta and Will Smith. You're right.
Was Will Smith a Scientologist?
I don't know. He slapped Chris Rock, I assume.
No.
He had too many Thetans.
Too many Thetans.
Yeah. So
get your wife's name. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I care about is the idea of that they put the U.S. government on blockchain and they use something like ADA in order to make things transparent. I care about voting systems that are changed. For the next 80 years or so, we don't have to worry about how the system has been gamed. We have this possibility of this recycling of the empire, this revivification of the empire that changes the landscape for the future. So, like,
wait, who is it that cares about voting systems and about putting the treasury on the blockchain? Like, who cares about that?
The Elon Musk of the world.
Yeah, but how is that? What is that going to do for anything? I mean, most people don't know about Linux.
What? What's the question?
You said you don't care that Other countries might use ADA and use that as a reserve, and price go up. You don't care about price go up. You care about how it's being used. Okay, why do you care about how it's being used? You personally.
Because it provides opportunities for us and our kids that are unlike anything we've seen before. So it's like being at the beginning of the industrial revolution and having some concepts of what could be done. That you could start a new factory, that you can create assembly lines, that you can do, you can revolutionize farms, that you can do all kinds of different things. There's productivity that can be generated out of there. That if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, that you might be able to take advantage of.
So you care about it because of GDP.
Yes, but during these transitions, you have a shifting of the wealth.
But then District 1 is going to change.
It's going to change to new people in District 1.
I don't know about new people. The people that are there now have been vetted.
No, they haven't been vetted. That's the whole issue. In fact, that's what we were talking about in the third segment, late stage capitalism. That's what it is. So we have this. If the empire was not adopting this, and crypto was coming in to disrupt the system, then there would be this fight, this clash between the two, right? So what happens at the ends or the transitions of empires is that either they clash together and it's a revolution and it's turmoil, and the next 20 to 40 to 80 years of your life is like difficult until something comes out the victor, which is usually, whoever has the most skull caps or teeth end up being at the top of the pack, or you have the symbiosis, right, where the empire adopts the new thing and you transition forward.
So you become a Christian. Rome becomes a Christian nation,
exactly,
and then everything. Then there's peace.
It's exactly that.
Unless you're non-Christian.
It's not peace for anyone who's not part of the.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
They definitely get crucified. Like it's a lot of crucifixion. But if you understand the rules around who gets crucified, then
peace.
You can be safer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm excited for. And then the price appreciation, great, right? But I want the price appreciation on the thing that I think would be very beneficial. So now that basically Cardano has been I don't know, Cardano has been sanctioned now by the highest order of the land. It don't get much bigger than
our God Emperor Trump. Yeah.
This guy got out of bed yesterday, kicked Zelensky out of the White House, and said, "Hey, let's play a round of golf. Let's get some ADA up in here." I mean, it was crazy. All right, great. So let's leave it at that. Long Cardano, and wait for the pullbacks, because we're gonna hopefully get some pretty gnarly dips. Third story. It's a bit of a philosophical one, Peter. I am pretty pissed off by constantly hearing this term, late stage capitalism. Late stage capitalism. This is classic signs of late stage capitalism. This is what happens at the end of an empire. You've heard of this, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Constantly, all the time. Right? All right, give me one quick second here. So the problem with late stage capitalism is that you have stuff like the characteristics of a late stage capitalism. Do you know some of them?
Inflation.
Not necessarily.
War.
Okay, so you don't know them. Let me just tell you. So you have extreme wealth inequality. Well, capitalism sends money to those who have and take it away from those who have not, and then you have this gap, and what you need is a uprising from the proletariat class in order to take control of the means of production, and then everything will be great. Corporate dominance. So the corporations become so large that they end up being basically in charge of the government and of policy. Financialization. So you have this thing where the economies shift all towards capital acquisition to the detriment of everything else. Environmental concerns, social concerns, health concerns, all kinds of stuff, and all towards the almighty dollar.
So far, you're describing exactly what's going on. Just so you know, if you're trying to
right?
debunk, you're describing exactly what's been happening.
You get consumerism on steroids because you get this just this consumption based economy, especially as dollars become the most important thing. You get precarious labor. Labor becomes you get less. You don't have unions. You don't have the worker doesn't have as much authority. Jobs get exported overseas, bidding for the lowest dollar, and it's a race towards the bottom as far as the quality of life is concerned. Before you could have one person as the head of a bringing in the money for a family. Now you need two. The idea is by the end you'll need five and roommates in order to get even that going. You have lower birth rates because people can't afford. Environment goes bad. The public commons go bad. All this alienation, discontent, crisis again and again, volatility, blah blah blah. Late stage capital.
This is the worst debunking I've ever heard.
Well, it sounds exactly the system we're in right now, right?
It is. That is the system we're in, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely, completely agree. Let me ask you, Peter. In a monarchy, you know what the signs are of late stage monarchy?
Okay.
Redistribution of wealth. Those who have more. Those who have not have less. You're born into success. You don't have to earn it. Sounds a lot like inheritance. You have the quality of the goods that are produced that have become worse and worse because money's not put towards innovation as hedonism and corruption abound in the aristocracy inside the monarchy. You have shifts within the labor. Basically, I'm going to name all the things I just said before are the same sort of things you see in late stage monarchy.
But who cares? Who cares if it's a late stage capitalism, late stage monarchy?
Peter, I know your simple mind can't tell why it matters. I'm going to bring you there, little baby boy. Just let me take it. What do you think are the symptoms of late stage communism? Let me give you a hint. Exactly the same sorts of things. Do you know why? Because it's not late stage capitalism. It's late stage corruption. Corruption has these effects. That's what these systems do. Now, before we dive more down that road, or the reason why this matters, is that what we're dealing with is the idea that it has to do with the world economic system, the Eurodollar system, the global reserve system of the US dollar. And previously, when you had individual countries or regions that had these sorts of issues, they would just crumble themselves and they would be taken over or whatever, and that would be it. Now, because we have a global system, it's the first time we have in our recorded history. I'm sure it happened before with
Atlantis.
whoever was here before the Ice Age or during. That the whole system is synchronized in such a way that this might spread abroad and collapse the entire global system.
Right. So there's no conqueror that can come in and control alt delete.
Aliens. This is why we're afraid of aliens and monsters.
And AI.
Well, because you remember at first, what you have is when towns and cities first started, the danger was outside. The whole reason you did towns and cities is in order to protect yourself from the outside danger.
Right.
And so you had this unified force. Then our cities and our systems became so stable that the outside became more nebulous until now it's not. There is no outside, just a series of insides that you're moving towards. And so now you're just fighting inwards. You forgot about this outside threat. And so you get this sort of like the purpose of the existence of that tribe, of that city or whatever is lost, and you're sort of aimless, and then people sort of like fight each other because they're all geared up biologically to fight against some outside force.
Right.
So what we're having here is it's actually this train wreck of a thing with multiple things are colliding. You have this world system on a global dollar, and you have late stage corruption all happening during the fourth turning all at the same time over here. So I just wanted to play a couple of clips here because what I've been finding very interesting. I keep waiting for some people that I respect to jump on video and like explain this sort of idea. Ken Carson does this to some degree, actually to a great degree. But what I'm finding is that I want to see it in popular culture. If I talk about Ken Carson to somebody, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But Elon Musk on Rogan or Tucker Carlson or something like that, they're like, hey, I know, I've heard about that, and something might seep into their minds. So I just want to play a couple of clips from the Luke Gromen Tucker Carlson interview, and then the Elon Musk Joe Rogan interview yesterday. I think it dropped. And I want to point out the seeds of they don't know what they're talking about, but they're actually describing this late stage corruption. All right, 1 second here.
Well, before you do this, what is the value of shifting your belief that it's late stage capitalism to late stage corruption? I feel like it won't matter to the people who believe in late stage capitalism. They think the corruption is coming to it's coming to an end, and that's their point.
Well, I don't really. If for those who have already made up their minds like that, I don't mind.
I just
What
mean,
I
what's the
want,
point in shifting this belief? Isn't the outcome
because
the
there's
same?
massive profits to be made if you understand what we're actually shifting to and what solutions can actually be remedies to this.
So, what do they think they're shifting to if you believe in late stage capitalism? To communism?
Communism, yes.
And you're saying we're not going to go to communism if you can do anything about it. But if King Trump stops it, then what are we shifting to? Or do you want to
Crypto
save this?
AI, whatever new system is
What was
crypto
that?
AI, new crypto and AI, whatever new system that we can define that has to do with those two things together
Hmm,
will be part of the plumbing of what's coming next. And if you invest in those now, you'll have generational wealth. Crypto,
Hmm.
AI, robotics, all this whole innovation thing that I'm talking about.
What I find interesting is that at least the people that I've talked to or have interacted or seen online who believe in late stage capitalism and communism as a solution, they are completely against crypto and AI.
Yeah,
Like
because
they
they
don't want to
see
hear
that as
any
super capital.
right. So you're saying they're about to lose big time. Like if they think they're unequal and at the bottom of the ladder now, they're definitely going to be at the bottom in the new paradigm.
No, because the corruption is accelerated by the rapidity of change. So this is why the fourth turning could be such a catalytic event, is that there's a lot of change that happens quickly, and corruption needs time in order to breed. And so if a corrupting force takes effect over 1 to 3 turnings, like longer than you can actually maintain attention, then it can take root. But if it happens bam, 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 bang, 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 all together, all of a sudden people go, whoa, 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 whoa. And their natural inclination is, let's flip this table, let's start chopping off the heads of these French people and just let's figure it out on the backside,
Hmm.
which is not the solution.
Right.
That, my friend, is what we call the start of the dark ages. Let us not do that. Let us take a page from history and understand there's another way, which is introducing within the corrupted system an antidote. So it's this cleansing light, the doge, if you will, of to the system in order to broadcast what's happening, and then the antibodies within the system, which are already prepared, people like me and other great people like me and Charles Hoskinson and Elon Musk can go ahead and root out some of the muck,
And
exile
you're saying if that happens, then that will benefit everyone, and there won't
everyone.
be anybody at the bottom of the ladder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what I'll do is that it'll still make quadrillionaires, but the floor will drastically rise up.
Right.
Because in the same way that Cardano was down and then got released a little bit because of the Trump election and then released again with it being mentioned, there's a baseline for what the low should have that is actually way higher than we are right now,
All right.
which eventually ends up being boring, and then you get more corruption down the line. So I just want to play these couple of things because I did talk about this a little bit on Traders Post last Friday. If you want to check out that episode with me and Mike Christensen on Traders Post, we do go a little bit about this, but we're talking about the gold aspect of what of the monetary system. But I wanted to talk about the late stage capitalism component. All right. So let's see here.
Make sure it's not too loud.
Okay. Actually, let me just do this.
So give us a sense of where gold is flowing in the world.
Oops.
Turn down
They
the
start
volume.
off talking about gold here.
So give us a sense of where gold is flowing in the world right now, to the extent we know.
To the extent what we can see, I would describe it simply as from the UK and the EU to a lesser extent into the US. It's still flowing into China. It flows into China all the time. But the big delta, the big change since the Trump election, essentially, has been a significant ramp up in the flows of gold out of the UK into the US.
So that would seem good for the US.
Yeah, historically, when you see where gold is flowing, that's your economic winner. That's who's winning. And where the countries that are losing gold, those are the countries that are losing. That goes back several hundred years. That's sort of how it works, which makes sense, right?
Several thousand years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first hint there, that the gold is starting to flow towards economic powers. That generally happens when they know or suspect there's going to be some sort of switch to the financial system, or danger to the financial system. All right. Now we jump to the how is gold valued? This is what I want you to hear here.
Turn down the volume just a
Pizza.
little
What
bit.
about
It's too loud.
pizza?
what
It's
about
all
okay,
I think the volume is a little too loud.
Too loud? Okay.
Pizza.
what
It's-
about
it's-
okay? So gold is almost
impractical.
hovering at about 3,000, a little under 3,000 an ounce. It's clearly going to make it 3,000, I would guess. Is there a threshold at which, like, it becomes, because there's a lot of gold actually on the Earth's crust, a lot, and it's just too expensive to extract it. But is there a threshold at which, like, gold production just ramps up dramatically? It becomes worth it to, like, extract a lot more gold, and it affects the price because of supply and demand.
Yes, is ultimately its supply will be a function of price, and then there's a lot of it in the ocean, right? In theory, if you sort of dry out the oceans and filter it, you could, and that's just a question of price, and the question of price is ultimately a question of energy efficiency, right? If you wanted to, that's how much energy do you need to expend to dig and get that out of the crust where it is and refine it down so that it makes sense. And right now it's going to cost you way more in energy in order to get that. And so you're not going to do that. And so if price goes up enough, then it makes sense for you to expend that amount of energy to do that. And I think that's a really important point that ties back to our stock to flow and why gold is valuable. Is when you think of it in those terms of it is where you need to expend a lot of energy to get gold, and the price of gold determines how much energy you're willing to expend to get it. It's just a compressed and portable storage of energy.
What does that sound like?
Bitcoin.
Exactly. And so gold here, he's describing it as if this is a very effective way of storing a unit of energy. But because we have to mine actual physical gold, there's a limitation to who can do it and a concentration of this gold towards certain players. Of all the gold that's in the world, almost none of it is in the hands of the population.
Except in India, which they have a ton of gold in the population.
No, it doesn't compare to the thousands of tons that central banks have.
Of course.
And
So that raises a deeper and more fundamental question, which is, do the great powers have a built-in incentive to keep energy prices higher than they would naturally be in a truly free market?
depends which great power, right? The Chinese, all else equal, want to build a consumer society. They would like to have energy prices cheaper. America, we like cheap oil, but not as cheap as we used to like it because now we have shale. So we want Goldilocks oil. So, above $90 starts to be a problem for our consumer. Below $70 starts to be a problem for our shale industry. And so if you look at the price of West Texas crude, WTI crude oil over the last 2-3 years now, oil's been 70 to 90. And I think that's we need Goldilocks oil. The Europeans, same kind of thing. They need a cheaper oil. The Russians, they would probably like more expensive oil. The Saudis, Saudi has $90 fiscal break even.
Right.
Anything below 90, they're borrowing money, and things get spicy over there if they don't maintain their promises to their people.
Spicy.
So, but
things get spicy. What a way to put it.
So the idea here is that it's actually energy That's the thing we're actually transacting in, and gold is a proxy for that. So it's not that energy helps us gets gold. Gold helps us transport energy across time. Now I sound like Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin, right? That's what it
Yeah,
is.
you do.
And the energy, you see how he's only talking about energy in terms of price, right? Below
Mhm.
70 to 90, but only in terms of price, not in terms of what it can do. And the reason it's talking about it in terms of price is that the system is based on dollars, right? The US dollar is the thing that everyone actually wants. Why does Saudi Arabia want oil at $90? Because it needs the dollars to settle its debt to provide comforts to their people for programs or whatever it is. All these different countries, they need the dollars to do it, right? They need the dollars. And because there's a lack of dollars, then there's just scramble for dollars, right? So before I just finish off with my last point, I just want to show you the Elon Musk interview where he talks about with Rogan this idea that he has to be careful about how hard he pokes the bear.
It's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard.
I haven't finished this episode, so I haven't seen this yet.
It's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed. You know, yeah. You know, it's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate. Is the issue,
Right?
Then they say like, okay, if the money flow cuts off, then okay, they can't afford school for their kids.
Right.
Then they're like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you for my kids, type
Right.
of thing.
Yeah.
You know, then it's like, oh, geez, okay.
Did you ever see that video?
All right. And then this last part.
That's dark.
I know.
That is dark. I mean, I always wondered how these guys are going so hard at the system. I mean, why aren't they dead yet? Not that I want them to be dead. Just why aren't they dead yet? I guess they didn't ruffle enough
He's not
feathers.
pushing hard enough to really do that yet.
So
but
what
he's
is
on the edge
hard
of it.
enough? What level is hard enough?
He doesn't
I mean,
know.
They haven't even gone to the Pentagon.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's his last clip.
Yeah. Well, it also we just have a real issue with the budget deficit. It's gigantic. So, like if you know, all things being equal, if we didn't have a gigantic budget deficit where interest payments, the interest on the national debt exceeds the Defense Department budget, which is truly astounding. Which means so we're paying over $1 trillion of interest on the national debt. Then okay, we would have more room for wasting money, basically. But when we're spending so much money that the country is going bankrupt, then we really need to stop spending money unless we're sure it is good value.
So it's
All right. So did you hear there? It's not the wasting of the money that's the issue. It's the corruption that's the issue. Right? The wasting of the money goes, well, we have the country has an unlimited credit card. We have the world reserve currency. We can literally print as much money as we want. But the issue is that the interest payments have now exceeded the military budget. The military budget, the biggest line item in the US government, is dwarfed by the interest payments. Why? Why would the interest payments be so important? Because the interest payments are dollars flowing to the outside. It's the dollar system that matters. It's a dollar that affects the availability of dollars to help Maui and fire victims and tornado victims. They need that money elsewhere.
Wait, so what do you mean the money's flowing outside? Where are the interest payments being paid to?
To bondholders. People who lend the U.S. government money, then
How is this
require an interest payment.
Yeah, so how is this bad? I thought you said the world needs dollars, and that's good.
Yes, the world needs dollars, but we have this Triffin's dilemma where there's never enough dollars to satisfy all their obligations. It's a game of musical chairs.
Okay, I'm still not clear on the interest payments to the debt. So the interest payments to the debt, that's not burning money, that's creating dollars.
Well, it's creating liquidity. It doesn't actually create dollars. What creates dollars in our debt-based system is the value of collateral going up. So your house that you buy for $100,000 goes up to $250,000 worth. Well, then you can then extract that equity and then buy $150,000 worth of productivity services, whatever, and that money is new money that's in the system.
Okay, so but if you're paying interest on the debt, that money is going to bondholders. Those bondholders are happy now because they have more dollars, and then they can use those. They can extract that equity and spend it.
They use those dollars to pay down debt.
So that's effectively burning the money.
Yes.
Which
If
is
you settle debt, then it's deflationary.
So that's bad because we need more dollars. This is getting rid of dollars.
Right. So it's this process of creating and destroying dollars that happens, which is tied to growth and inflation. So growth and inflation. So growth, which is actual productivity, and inflation, which is the increase in the money supply. Both those things help with the financial system. And if one or both of them go down, we have a deflationary society. And there's not enough dollars to settle the debt, which is still owed.
So why don't they just print more money then?
Right. But so the mechanism to print more money is co-opted by the corruption so that the mechanism of printing more money goes to the wolves. And since people don't necessarily understand how the system even works, there's no one guy who sat there and thought of the system. The system evolved in this organic way throughout the entire world in such a way, as Jeff Snyder likes to mention it from Eurodollar University, that you can step off a plane in Japan, go to an ATM, and take money out from your Canadian bank account. That whole system grew over time. And so in Elon Musk, in that same interview, he talks about how the government was like, why haven't they released the Epstein files? Why haven't they done this? He goes, no one knows. No one knows where the payments are going. No one knows what systems to use. No, it's not like someone they become the director and they sit down on a computer and they type in Epstein into a system and they go. You can't even fire people. You have to go down to a mine shaft in order to get their paperwork. No one knows the thing.
I think he implied that Kash Patel wouldn't even know which computer. There's a limited number of computers to access. They won't even show them where the computers are.
That's right. So what you have is that the corruption causes the infinite money glitch machine to spew out to all these different people. And if it happens over a long enough time, then you have, well, my kids depend on this. My status depends on this. My livelihood depends on this.
On that note, I think from what I understand, the way you prevent there's two ways in order to deal with this threat to his life. One is to have successors who are guaranteed to follow through with the path. So if there's enough successors, you're like, well, killing Elon doesn't solve this problem. Or he needs a dead man switch where the world gets like Putin has. Like, why isn't Putin dead? Like, are they not able to kill Putin? They got a dead man switch.
Or you AIify him.
Or you AF, I guess that's a new way of doing it. I just don't understand why Trump and Elon, all these people aren't. There's no backups to them. There's no security mechanism.
In that interview, was saying he wasn't even aware of the level of corruption that was even there.
That's so scary to me that the District 1 people, these elites, don't actually understand how deep the corruption is. It's like Jimmy Dore says. People think the system is a little corrupt. It's all corrupt. It's not all, but it's so massive that that's why he keeps calling for a revolution. Now, I know talking to you, you say, I don't want a revolution. Revolutions kill people. People die in revolutions. And I guess you want this transition. We're going to transition into crypto and AI, the fourth turning, the millennials using technology in order to solve our problems instead of war. Because
which is always the
case. And then you said aliens. Were you joking about that?
No, I'm saying that the only outside thing we could have where we're not looking outside anymore is if aliens are there.
Right.
Which might be one of the reasons why those drones showed up over the United States. I don't know. We need an outside force.
They were too fast.
So what we're seeing is the because of Triffin's dilemma, because of the idea that any world reserve currency eventually leads to this outcome, right? So United States, what they export, what they produce is dollars.
Right.
They didn't always. They were industrial based, but they create dollars. And because of that, and they have to export it to the rest of the world, you get this resource curse where more and more of the system, the financialization that you hear talk about in late stage capitalism, ends up focusing the whole system on producing these dollars because it's not enough. They have to produce the dollars. But because it's a globally synchronized system, all the other countries that are part of the global dollar system, they need more and more dollars. So they're not actually separate. They're all linked together in that the internal structure of the United States, as it goes down, the external one of the rest of the world goes up. And if the rest of the world goes down, then the United States goes up. Like you have to choose one or the other. And then that, if it torques and you have this contortion where it's not equal, you get this volatility and it breaks.
And you're saying that the corruption is throwing a wrinkle in this where the dollars aren't going to the right place?
That's right.
Wow.
And so if it was an efficiently run system, you can have the US print the dollars that they need, and they could say, okay, for 4 years at a time, we're going to do it for our people, and for 4 years at a time, let's say we'll do it for the abroad, or 10 years and 10 years, and you'll have this expectation of this ebb and flow, and you'd have systems in place that help regulate it. Okay, I'm going to go through winter here, and it's going to be summer over there, and you can bounce it off in the same way that we do when we're transporting food around the world.
Right.
But because of the corruption system, now it gets siloed, and then you end up with not enough, and you go, why is there a bottleneck, and we can't adjust, and we make a change over here, and it's not, the prediction is not working over there.
Right.
And so that's why I want crypto and AI and robotics helps us quickly implement something, and the crypto allows us to unlock value from things we didn't know had value before. So you get this value creation engine with this unlimited productivity, but we need that to happen after the corruption is gone, or as the corruption is gone, because then we'll supercharge the corruption, and we'll end up in destroying ourselves.
Well, there's the problem right there. That corruption ain't going nowhere.
I thought that until Donald Trump.
Bruh, that guy is moments away from the grave. No offense.
If we get some sort of external catalyst, asteroid, solar flare, aliens, whatever, at the same time as this push towards anti-corruption happening, and these tools exist, when needs must, we might actually survive this.
So you're talking about the fourth turning crisis.
Well, it's really a fourth turning, but yes.
And you think that crisis is going to be external?
No.
Or it has to be?
Well, if we get an external shock that everyone has to deal with equally, and they can't blame politically on anything, while this anti-corruption wave is happening, then you have this, well, let's not kill the guy right now, the asteroids come to Earth situation.
Maybe AI becomes too powerful.
It
could be the crisis.
That I hope. Because the system doesn't want the volatility of clarity within the system, but it certainly doesn't want just the whole destruction, that not even any possible of saving it.
Wait, right? Okay. What you're describing is extremely bullish crypto.
Yes.
I mean, if crypto is the solution, Bitcoin solves this, Bitcoin fixes this, and those dominoes keep going, and the corruption gets and the dollars start flowing, and we use crypto and AI and the technology in order to, more permanently fix the system, then you're looking at 1 million Bitcoin.
At least 1 million. And then and this is what I was so excited about the strategic reserves, about naming the altcoins as part of the system, it means there's room for these other ones to serve other roles.
Right.
Fine, Bitcoin could be a reserve assets for the monetary system. ADA can be part of the information and the identity network. Solana can be part of entrepreneurship and new businesses and enterprises or whatever, XRP can be used as a stable coins within the global dollar system, all with a decentralized, to whatever degree, decentralized effect, so that all countries can participate in it, so that all countries become, like the United States, the ability to generate capital.
You
That's
left
what
out one
Ethereum
thing
is.
there.
What?
Ethereum.
Ethereum is the Netscape of cryptocurrencies. It's great that they introduce us to the idea that you could have a blinking element on the page. But then the novelty wears off and we're like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Ethereum can go. Some people use Netscape still. Some
Sure.
people use Windows Vista. So
Ironically. All right. Well, this is fascinating. I learned, look, I'll be honest, I learned more than I wanted to learn. It sounds like an extremely perilous, scary tightrope situation. Trump could be right. Going to be a golden era. Success will bring us together, or, Papa Elon and King Trump get taken out. Tulsi will be unplugged from whatever LLM is running her, and Kash Patel can't find the computers to even do anything, and RFK is gonna continue to be ineffective with his voice and communication. He's great. I love him. Okay, I just wish somebody would give him an AI voice. Why the hell? Stephen Hawking had a thing. Haven't we upgraded that thing? Don't we have a better thing?
he likes it. He thinks it's sexy, I think. He likes it.
Well, he is sexy. Have you seen him with a shirt on?
It's my wallpaper. So, all right. So we'll leave it there for now. This is great. We're gonna head over to Sunday Fuel, which we got to do pretty quick because I have a meeting in 30 minutes.
Oh.
So let's end this. And thank you very much for watching The Right Moves. Hey, did you ever think like The Right Moves sort of sounds like the right wing party makes moves that we can? That's like how Trump is it almost like